Hi, I'm Dave.
And I'm Jennifer, and we are a middle aged couple with a Regal Unlimited subscription, a deep and unrelenting fetish for movie theater popcorn, and, at least for me right now, a deep terror of most things in my house.
We went and saw Backrooms. So we are making a video for every movie we saw to see together in 2026. And this is one you asked to see. And I'm the horror fan. She's not. But we've been going to horror movies. We've been seeing horror movies together just as a bonding exercise, I guess.
Well, because I'm realizing there are some things I actually can watch, right?
Okay.
So we saw an
This wasn't
ad.
one.
No, no, this is the kind of like we watched it. I watched it. I
Yeah,
didn't even
no,
close
you
my
didn't
eyes,
leave.
right?
That's
And
true.
I didn't leave. And there were movies that were advertised before this movie that I closed my eyes through the entire commercial,
Right.
and no way in bugfuck no ever will I ever see it, right? So I'm figuring out like what my limitations are.
So
So
don't expect us to review Evil Dead Burn or Fall 2.
I didn't even see the commercials. I saw like
Okay,
a tiny bit
trailers.
of it, the trailers, and was like, nope. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not kidding.
Yeah, no, kept my
How
eyes
much of
closed.
this movie did you put your hands over your eyes for?
Zero.
Not even that bit when she's comes out going up the stairs.
No, well, for a second, but I'm like, no, like I have a sense of where this movie is going to go. She's not going to fall, but I wanted to close my eyes when she was on something really high.
So I think we're gonna try to do this one without spoilers
Okay.
because it's a movie we're seeing without knowing a lot ahead of time.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like yeah, if you've seen the images and you think the images are interesting, then you should go see the movie, I guess.
Yeah, if you've seen any of
You
the YouTube videos.
Yeah, I mean, if you
Or
if you're like a normal person who watches YouTube, I am not a YouTube person. So you had told me about the YouTube videos and showed me the first one of them. I read later that that was inspired by like a thing on like a 4chan post.
yeah,
Um,
there are also video games based in the back rooms.
yeah.
But this is the movie, and the movie has been developed. So I would say that there is a lot more in this movie than you will see in any of those YouTube videos.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you're not, you should not think to yourself, "Oh, I know what the Backrooms is all about," before you see this movie, because they have developed the lore, they've built out the world quite a bit, they've given some real characters in a way that I don't think it ever had before. And so I'm a fan of the Backrooms. I've been a fan for a long time. And I would say that I believed that the reason the videos were so effective, the YouTube videos, was that they didn't have all the trappings of like a Hollywood film. They didn't have like characters with backstories, and they didn't have like an overarching plot. They didn't have like an explanation for what was going on. All of those things can be found in this movie, although
I think
it does
explanation is overstating.
the movie does
Yeah.
play with your expectations and your definitions of like closure and plot structure and so
Yeah.
on. Anyway, it's a very interesting movie. It is boring as hell for the first 45 minutes, and then it's unrelenting terror for the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't say it's boring, but it's slow, right?
It's
Like
a very slow start.
it's just explaining, people's lives and stuff a little bit, but not really explaining. So it's showing you people's lives and not explaining a whole lot. And it's Chiwetel Ejiofor and Renata Reinsve. So there's two Oscar-nominated actors in this movie. It was a movie that has very limited dialogue, right? We went to see it at the Open Cap showing, and there's many, 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 many minutes of this movie with no captions because there's no speaking.
Yeah.
Like it is a movie where sound is incredibly important. It's both the music and just the other sounds that create the terror, right? Like it's the sounds, it's these empty spaces, and the very human fear of empty, sort of darkish spaces.
Yeah,
You know,
and being lost,
yeah,
claustrophobia.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of very identifiable human fears.
Exactly.
Get explored here,
That are
yeah.
universal, right? Like, I would think, or
To
pretty close to universal.
lesser or greater degrees.
Yeah.
Some
And
people really should not see this movie.
oh
If
yes,
you are
if you were
claustrophobic,
legitimately claustrophobic, you should not
probably
even
stay away from this
go
movie.
to the. You should get out of the time zone of the movie theater that's showing this movie. Jesus Christ. But
But if you're a horror fan,
oh yeah,
if you actually do like horror movies, if you like suspenseful movies, if you like movies that are creepy as hell, you'll love this. I think I was ready to be disappointed in this movie based on a couple of reviews I read. They were totally wrong. This was amazing.
yeah,
Like I say, it's very slow at the beginning, and I really was kind of going, "Oh no, this is going to be a disaster," and then it just turns into one of the scarier horror movies I've ever seen.
yeah, yeah.
This is not as, if you are worried about that, it's not as scary as Blair Witch Project. Still the scariest movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
I know a lot of people like to front and say they weren't scared by the Blair Witch Project. They didn't see it in the same way I saw it, so that's fine. This is really scary, and absolutely will keep you on the edge of your seat.
Yeah, and I realize this is the kind of scary that I can basically handle, right?
Okay.
Like, you know,
There's not
well
too,
enough.
not too much blood.
Yeah, no, there isn't very much blood, and there isn't very much actually that happens that is scary.
Yeah.
It's the terror of like unknown rooms and the terror of these spaces and just not knowing. And that's literally scarier than anything else. Like, and that's going on inside your head, right? Like, that's not what's external to you, that's going on inside your head. There are things legitimately that are externally scary, right? So it's not purely that feeling that's going on inside you.
It's not just dread.
But that is a huge part of it.
Yes.
And that's what makes it
scary
effective.
part of
And
it,
that's
yeah.
what's so scary. And that's like that can be any day, you know, like that can just be walking to a place that you don't know that feels creepy to you, right? So yeah, it really resonates and very visually interesting, you know, with these spaces, but then, you know, the decor in these spaces and stuff. There is something eventually to differentiate one space from another in some way. So there's, you know, really interesting like set design and, you know, just filming choices and filmic choices and visual choices and the sound. And, you know, there are little bits of music that are real world music that you might know in other contexts. So there's some songs that you just might not think about the same way ever again. A song that I've known since I was a very tiny child that kind of is now just going to be creepy rather than be like a warm memory.
I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about.
Yes.
And that scene is
Yes.
very effective.
Yes. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, you know, and then there's other music written for the movie that's not music that you would know, right? That, you know, partially written by the director.
Yes.
That is just terrifyingly creepy, you know, that just tells you, you know, the music and the sounds of the movie tell you you are supposed to be very, very afraid.
Yeah.
And it's very effective
And it's
at
not
making
lying.
me feel that way. It does the job.
Yeah. So you mentioned that there's 2 Oscar nominees winners here. I'm glad they got them.
Yeah.
This if you were to read the shooting script for this, you would say you don't need a Chiwetel Ejiofor to do this movie.
Yeah.
Like you can get some random nobody
Who you could pay $5
who
for.
you pay $5
you know, like, yeah.
for, and the answer is no. You need him.
Yeah.
Like he actually pulls off an amazing performance here
Mm-hmm.
in this incredibly slight form, and it's really interesting watching him do this.
Yeah.
And just inhabit this character in a way that matters. And yeah, the other famous person in this movie, to me anyway, is the daughter from Shrinking.
Lukita Maxwell, I think is her name.
She plays Summer, is the name of the character.
I don't remember the name of the character.
From Shrinking, and I love that show, and she's good in this. She just has to be scared all the time.
Yep.
Like her entire performance is her being scared.
Yeah.
And she does a great job. Yeah, there's nothing cheap or shoddy about this movie.
Exactly.
There's one character choice that I found really, really strange, but it ended up working anyway. And
What other character? There's like 4 characters in the movie.
I'll tell you later.
We've talked about 3 of them.
Okay.
Okay. I'm thinking of somebody else as
I guess
not
it's
a
more
character
design rather
Okay,
than
character design.
than acting.
I'll believe that.
Yeah. But yeah, it's a messed up movie.
Yeah, it's crazy, and
It's not as messed up as Annihilation.
yeah, it's not because it's not as visually messed up. Like
Yeah.
it is
I mean,
visually
it is
messed
pretty
up,
visually messed
and
up.
but Annihilation is like, LSD,
Yeah.
where this is not, right?
This is like what? Hyperventilating too much? and seeing
Yeah,
stuff?
this is like, just everything is like, it's almost like still vertigo is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like you have this real vertigo, you can't make sense of the world. And it feels like that,
Yeah.
but without motion, which is different than everything is dripping. Like, which is kind of what I felt like Annihilation was, just like all of the objects and the vegetation and stuff in this space were like dripping, and dripping with color and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's LSD. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, this is definitely, I mean, not like we're late to the game, right? Everybody already knows that this is a movie worth going to see, but I would agree
It's
that
certainly doing well.
that this is a movie worth going to see, and to see on the biggest thing that you can see it on,
Well,
and in a place that's kind of dark,
yeah.
to make it, to reinforce the creepy.
It definitely works best in the theater.
It's a movie theater movie. Like, if you're going to watch it in your living room, it's like turn out the lights and watch it in your living room so you can feel super creepy. And
I feel like the YouTube videos worked best on a smaller screen because they were so minimal.
Right.
Whereas this is a more fleshed out version of that, and so it works on a bigger screen. Absolutely.
Yeah, it really conveys this sense of space. And I looked up on IMDb. I was wondering how much was physical space versus CGI that I wasn't seeing. And apparently they built 30,000 square feet of stuff for the sets, to the point that it was big enough that people in the production were getting lost on the sets. So they were able to convey that sense of size and bigness, and you will get lost here because it literally was, as opposed to doing it through CGI, which is also a thing I very much appreciate. Like, I just, like it felt real, and I'm glad to know that I wasn't completely fooled, that there was some real aspect to it.
In terms of, I'm just switching gears here,
okay,
but in terms of like themes and influences, I think the most important thing about this movie for me was that this is a movie very much in conversation with the backlash against AI and AI generative art. I don't think any AI was actually used in making the film, but absolutely it is designed to, parts of it are designed to look like the hallucinations of a generative AI, especially back when, AI people had too many fingers, and signage on AI streets are all in weird hieroglyphic characters and so on. And that was absolutely inspiration for a lot of this movie, and it absolutely works in that sense of, yes, the creepiness of AI absolutely builds something here that was not in the original videos, even though my understanding is that the original Backrooms video was an attempt to make a generative video game level designer, and got out of control. And so I think it is baked into the DNA here, but it's interesting. The other thing that I kept coming up with was the book House of Leaves, which, if you've read it, and I'm not going to spoil House of Leaves, that would be a crime. It's an amazing book. It's one of my favorite books of all time.
Who wrote the book?
Mark Z. Danielewski, whose sister, Poe, did a concept album based on the book called Haunted, and it's an amazing album for an amazing book.
All right.
But
I've never heard of either.
The book itself, The House of Leaves. Never heard of House of Leaves?
I just said I've never heard of either.
It was immensely popular. It was just a runaway superstar, best hit, top of the bestseller list.
When?
For years and years back around the turn of the century. And
I know where I was then. I was not paying attention to such things.
Fair enough.
I was otherwise occupied.
It's about a guy who's like in his house, and he finds a passageway that shouldn't be there, that can't possibly exist inside the house, and so he starts exploring it. And as he explores it, it gets bigger and more complicated and turns into rooms and side doorways and leading to other hallways and so on. But it's all pitch black in there, which in the book works, just makes it so much scarier.
Yep.
It's just so terrifying.
Yep.
This endless exploration of this labyrinth in the dark.
We don't do that.
The Backrooms definitely is drawing from that inspiration, or at least they share, a common fear universal to humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie actually draws more from House of Leaves than the original videos did. In a way I can't talk about, unfortunately. I wish I could, but I'm not going to spoil anything here, like we said. But there is absolutely an interesting chapter in a book to be written about this, about the comparison and influence and so on between House of Leaves and the Backrooms. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I am a horror fan, as everybody knows, and it worked for me. A lot of horror movies don't scare me anymore because I'm desensitized, but this one did, by not going in the usual directions of a horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, there are all sorts of things that are like super scary and super creepy, and it could have gone much harder in that sense. And it didn't. Pulling its punches made it much scarier.
I'm not sure I understand.
I don't know that I can say it more clearly without explaining things.
Because I feel like this movie went really hard.
It did, but not bloodily.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the gore factor is very low.
Yeah. And that for me, that's a really hard.
It's not zero.
One. Yeah, sure. That's fine.
Don't go expecting a Disney movie.
Yeah.
It is. It's not that. It's not that kind of movie.
Yeah.
It's not a zombies attack kind of movie.
Exactly. It's not. What is that? Evil Dead Burn
Evil
or
Dead
whatever.
Burn.
Like, so yeah. So it was appropriately scary. Like, you have to be able to handle deep suspense and deep dread. You don't have to be able to handle huge amounts of gore, right?
No blood and guts,
yeah, like that's what I can do. I can't do the gore. I can't do, torture porn, like that kind of stuff. Like, I'm figuring out my universe of the horrors, and I can't do, because I didn't see Obsession, because I don't want to see crazy stalker people. Yeah. Like, that's just not.
that would not be
entertaining. That's just real. And I don't like
the
that.
other big influence on this is Psycho, which in a way that, again, we can't talk about without spoiling the movie. But it's fascinating. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
We could write a monograph on this movie.
Somebody's gonna. More than one somebody's gonna.
Yeah. This movie is it's making enough money and getting enough press that people are going to be talking about it for a long time, I think.
Yes.
And it's absolutely worth it. I think that the love and care that went into this movie. So, like, James Wan and Osgood Perkins were both producers on this movie.
Yeah.
And I feel like they must have had a hand in making it, like in making a lot of decisions about this movie, because oh my God, it's so well done.
It's very, very, very well done. Very well done.
In a spare kind of way. It's so interesting how minimal in a way this movie is.
And that's what makes the best movies. The fact that I'm going to compare this to this does not make sense.
Okay.
Mad Max Fury Road right?
Interesting.
There's
Okay.
bunches of that movie that's not spare,
Which is a
right?
maximalist movie by
There's
far.
lots of it that's maximalist.
But the
there
plot,
the plot is really spare, but there are many, many images in that movie that are actually really very spare. And that keeps that movie going and those like moments of like one person and the desert and like framed by like, you know, the truck or whatever in the background, like is just like there is a purpose, there's something happening, like, but like stop and look, right? And this movie, partially because it's inspired by a YouTube series that's inspired by a single still photograph. If you stop most moments in this movie, you will see an image that should be a photograph on its own.
Yeah, every set piece in this movie.
Every set piece, every moment, but like the moments that are not in the Backrooms space, the moments that are in the real world are still the same. You know, I feel like if I could stop those moments where you see the two characters when you first see them interact and just look at that still, you would see something visually really interesting just on its own, you know? And that's noticeable, you know, for I feel like every frame. And that's how I felt about Fury Road. They're not similar movies by any stretch of the imagination.
No.
But just feeling movies where you don't expect it to be particularly visually interesting. And this movie where the point of it is that in many ways it's not, right? It's like all these rooms that are like strikingly similar, you know, but they're not carbon copies of each other, but they're strikingly similar.
Yeah.
So go see this.
Yeah, go see it. I think that's all we need to say.
Yeah.
Anything else is going to...
Anything else we're going to say about the movie?
It gives you too much information, and you don't want that information now.
You don't. The one thing I'm going to say about the making of this video is if you are looking at us and you are noticing that at some point we are very bright and that at other points we are dark, is because we are facing a television that has the Knicks game on. So don't think you are hallucinating, or you can probably also see the television occasionally reflected in our glasses when we are moving the right way. So yes, we are...
there you go. That's the game reflected in my glasses, right?
Yes. Anywho, hopefully you are watching the game and you will watch us later. And then hopefully you've already seen Backrooms, not the Backrooms. The movie is called Backrooms. If you have not seen it already, you should go see it. And you should see it in the theater.
All right. Let's go catch the rest of the game.
I know you're excited.
You know how much I love basketball.
I know you love the sporting.
All right. Until next time, folks.
Bye.